Section 2. Track 1.
Morning, everyone. I thought we'd get together today and just talk about exam techniques. I'm sure everyone has different ideas about them. So, shall we find out what you do first when you get into an exam?
Check that you have the right exam paper.
It sounds funny, but students do actually answer the wrong exam paper sometimes. So check that it's your exam first. Then what?
Write your examination number on the answer sheet.
Well, it might sound obvious, but writing your examination number at the beginning of the exam can be a good idea. Apart from making sure the examiner knows who wrote the exam, can anyone say why?
It can help you relax?
Yes, that's right. Doing something easy like that gives you a chance to calm down. Right, so what do you do next?
Read the questions carefully.
Well, before you read the questions, what should you do?
Read the instructions.
Yes, you should read the instructions next. You need to know how many questions you have to answer and whether you have to answer all the questions or only some. What other important information do you need to check before you start?
How much time you have?
Yes, Jerry's right. You need to make sure that you know how long the exam is so you can manage your time properly.
Track 2.
OK, what do you do next?
Read the questions.
Yes, it's very important to read the questions, not just once, but several times.
I usually make a few notes when I'm looking at the questions. Sometimes a question looks easy, and then when you start writing, you realize that it's actually more difficult than you thought.
Yeah, but you don't want to spend too much time writing notes.
No, but it's a good idea to jot down a few ideas to see if you can remember the arguments for the topics you studied most.
Once we've decided, is it better just to start at the beginning and answer the questions as they appear on the exam, or should we start with the easy questions?
Well, I start with the questions that I know better and leave the ones I'm not sure of for the end.
That's what I do. But I still keep an eye on the clock, especially when the questions are all worth the same number of marks. Track 3.
Mac's right. If you write one very good answer, but it's only worth 30% of the marks, you still lose the other 70% on that exam.
So it's better to write our main ideas for a question, even if we don't have time to answer it properly.
Yes, absolutely. We can't give you marks for writing nothing, but if you give us your main ideas, we can give you some marks.
Oh, really? I wish I'd known that in my last exam. I spent all my time writing a long answer to one of the questions and didn't get round to the other two. I didn't understand why I got such a low mark.
Yeah, that's what happened to me. Luckily, my tutor explained it afterwards, so I never did that again. Track 4.
Could you tell me something about who does the shopping in your family?
Of course. Well, in a way, it depends on what kind of shopping you mean. There are 4 people in my family, but only 2 of us actually go shopping. I think we're like most families, really. I mean, my mother always buys the food. She's very organised. You know, she always makes a shopping list before she goes out. She says it's a good way to save money. Anyway, she goes to the supermarket once a week and gets everything we need. My father and brother hardly ever go to the shops, but I love shopping. I'm the person in our family who goes shopping the most. I just love to go to the shopping mall with my friends. Sometimes I buy clothes on the spur of the moment, you know, without planning to. But quite often when I get home, I don't really like what I've bought and I have to go back and ask for a refund. I don't like doing that very much. I think it's a bit embarrassing.
Track 5. Hi. This is our last lecture about business and advertising this term, and today I'm going to talk about shopping habits in different parts of the world. First, we'll look at who normally does the shopping. Yes, well, in the United Kingdom, about 75% of the food shopping is done by women. But this isn't the case everywhere. There are countries where up to 60% of men do the grocery shopping on their way back from work. And habits are changing, even in Western countries. For example, a recent survey showed that in the United States, nearly 50% of men shop for groceries. Now, let's look at where people shop. In fact, where people shop depends on whether they live in the city or in the country. As we all know, there are more supermarkets in the city and more markets and small shops in the country. So, as the population moves to the city to find work, more people are shopping in supermarkets than ever before. Track 6.
Hello, good to see you all here. This afternoon, I'm going to talk about a recent survey into men's and women's shopping habits. Before I start, I'd like you to look at the list of statements about men and women and see which ones you would expect to be true. Right? Firstly, let's look at the idea that women spend a lot of money on expensive shoes. Actually, this isn't true. In fact, women buy a lot of cheap shoes. Men, on the other hand, try to save money by buying special offers. What is surprising about women, though, is that they like shopping in expensive or exclusive boutiques. And it isn't true that they always make a shopping list when they go to the supermarket. We also expected to find that men would go to the supermarket after midnight to get their food cheaper, but this wasn't the case either. Then the third thing we learnt about women is that they like to shop in big department stores, which men don't like. They like to go shopping in specialist shops. Okay, how many did you get right?
Track 7.
Good evening, everyone. This evening, I'm going to continue last week's lecture by talking more about how people spend their money. First of all, I'm going to compare how people of different age groups spend their cash. You probably know that there's a lot of difference between what young people do with their money, how families spend their money, and what more mature people do. Secondly, I want us to think about what we imagine men and women spend their money on. And then, I'm going to look at male and female spending patterns and see whether we were right. Okay, to start with, let's divide the population into 3 sections. Let's say young people up to the age of 30 in the first group. Then let's put families in the 30 to 55-year-old group. So that puts adults over 55 in the mature group. Does that make sense?
Track 8.
Right, well, I found that the first group, that's young people up to the age of 30, mostly spend their money on clothes, music and entertainment. That's not really very surprising, is it? Although I must admit, I thought they might spend a lot on cars and travelling around. So, the next group is what I've called families, people in the age group from 30 to 55. Naturally, as I expected, this group spends most of its money on food, toys and trips out. But I was surprised to find that people aged between 30 and 55 spend most of their money on furniture and kitchen equipment. I suppose it's logical if you think about it. People are usually improving their homes at that age, and household equipment is very expensive. But they also spend a lot of money on electronic equipment, like video games for the children. Now turning to the third group, that's people over 55. I thought they'd spend their money on gardening tools and electronic equipment, but I was wrong again. People in the over 55s group spend most money on new cars and days out.
Track 9. A.
Hi, Trudy. What are you doing this weekend? I'm going swimming down at the beach.
Oh, right. I'm going running. I'm practicing for the marathon next month. Do you like running, Carl?
No, not me.
B.
Hey, Carl, do you feel like going to the cinema tonight? There's a really good film on.
Oh, I'm sorry, Hilary. I've already got tickets to go to a concert this evening.
C.
What are you doing this vacation, John? I'm travelling around Europe for a while before I go back to Australia.
Oh, really? I'm not that keen on travelling, to be honest. I'm going to spend my vacation gardening. D.
I'm going cycling on Saturday, Hilary. Do you want to come along?
Thanks a lot, but I've got a lot of cooking to do for the party in the evening. I hope you're still coming.
Of course I am. Wouldn't miss it.
Track 10. So, Sally, what do you do in your free time?
Well, at the moment, I'm training to be a private pilot.
No way! Really? What made you want to do that?
Well, I've always loved the idea of flying a plane, ever since I was a little girl.
Wow. Isn't it expensive?
Yeah, but it's worth it. It's an amazing experience. But what about you, Martin? What do you do for leisure?
Nothing nearly as exciting. I play ice hockey in my spare time. I'm captain of the college team. So at weekends we travel to games all over the state.
But that sounds fun. Do you enjoy leading the team?
Yeah, I do. Track 11.
Hi, Steve. What are you doing?
Well, I collect stamps with pictures of tropical birds on them, so I'm looking for more of those.
Oh, that's interesting. Which ones have you got so far?
I've got a 32-cent stamp with a picture of a cardinal honeyeater on it. It came out in 1998.
A cardinal honeyeater? Is that a bird? Can I see it?
Yeah, here. It's a tropical bird.
Oh, yes. It's beautiful. So which country is the stamp from?
The United States.
And how did you get it? Do you know someone in the States?
No, it's not like that. I buy stamps from other collectors. Look at this one. I bought it last week. It's a 25-cent stamp.
Oh, brilliant. It's got a parrot on it. When was it issued?
1967.
Okay. And where's it from?
It's from Brazil.
Cool.
Track 12. Hi. Can I help you? Are you interested in climbing at all?
Hi, yeah. Actually, I've been thinking about joining a club for a while now. So, what do I have to do?
It's easy, really. I can fill in the form for you right now online, and then you can come to our first meeting next month.
OK, let's do that then.
Right. First of all, what's your name?
Andrew.
Andrew. And your family name?
Metcalfe.
Metcalfe. How do you spell that?
Metcalfe.
Metcalfe with an E.
Yes, that's right.
And your age? Are you over 18?
Yep, I'm 21.
And where do you live?
My address is 43A, Highbury Square, London, W1.
Thanks. And do you have a number where I can contact you?
Yes, my mobile is 07209 571 324.
And I have to ask you a couple more questions. Do you have any health problems?
No, nothing.
And a last question. Have you ever climbed before?
Yes, I have, a bit.
Well, thanks very much. Track 13.
Hello, are you the person to ask about joining a club?
Yes, I am. What would you like to know?
Well, I'm interested in several things, but I'd like to know more about the different clubs and how much they cost. I'm looking for a small club that's not too expensive.
OK. Have a look at this table. You can see the names of the clubs, the fees, and the number of members. I'm afraid they aren't in any order. If you look at the top of the list, the first club is table tennis. That's one of our new clubs.
Oh, right. So the table tennis club costs £20. That's quite expensive.
Yes, it is a bit expensive. The cross-country cycling club is cheaper, though. Membership fees are only £15, but on the other hand, it's got 100 members.
The film and drama club costs a lot, doesn't it?
Yes, £50 is a lot, and that's probably why it only has 12 members. Is there any other club you think looks interesting? Look at the next one, street dance. Have you ever done any street dance?
No, I haven't really.
It's the cheapest. It only costs £5. Track 14. OK. Shall we start with your interests? What do you like doing best?
Well, I like photography. I've got a professional camera, so I take it quite seriously. But I can't really imagine belonging to a club to take photographs. I usually go on long walks on my own and take photos. So I like photography, but I wouldn't want to join a club to do it.
OK. So what else do you like doing? Running?
Oh no, not running. I like walking, but I hate running. I'm afraid the running club isn't for me, or the cycling club.
And film and drama?
No, it's far too expensive. But I do like yoga. I've practiced yoga on and off for years. How many members does the yoga club have?
It's always a small group. A lot of people sign up at the beginning of term, but they stop going after a few weeks. So they're left with a few regular members every year.
That sounds good. I think I'd like to join the yoga.
Track 15. So, can I have your full name, please?
Victoria Mandeville.
Mandavil?
No. Mandeville.
L-E. Thank you. And how old are you?
19.
And your address?
57, Bury Gardens, Atherton Park, Manchester, M46.
How do you spell Bury? B-E-R-R-Y?
No, it's B-U-R-Y.
Right, B-U-R-Y. And do you have a contact number?
Yes, my mobile is 07942 573 279.
07942 573 279.
Yes, that's right. Is that all?
One more thing. Do you have an email address? Track 16. 1. We thought that young women would spend a lot on clothes and shoes, and that young men would buy more video games, mobile phones and cars. 2. We found that although young women don't spend as much as men on eating out, they do spend a lot more on organic foods than young men. 3. In fact, people aged between 30 and 55 spend most of their money on furniture and kitchen equipment. People are usually improving their homes at that age, and household equipment is very expensive. Track 17.
When you start university, you'll probably find it's not all that easy to balance the time you spend on studying with the time you spend going out with your friends. In fact, one of the biggest problems you'll have is managing your time. Of course, it's perfectly understandable. I mean, in many cases, it's probably the first time you'll have lived away from home, so you'll have to do lots more things for yourself, like buying your own food, washing your clothes, and managing your own money. At the same time, there's no one there to tell you what time to come home at night, or what time to get up in the morning. On top of that, at university, you won't have as many hours of class as you did at school, and your tutors will expect you to study on your own a lot more. So you might feel you've got a lot of free time on your hands. So how do you deal with it? Well, to be honest, I don't think there's an easy answer, but I think it helps to go to all your classes, however tired you are. Print a copy of your timetable and put it on the wall in your bedroom. Actually, your university might even have a system for alerting you on your mobile when your lectures are. Apart from that, you could try not going out during the week and keeping your social life for the weekend. I'm not sure that's very easy, though. One thing I will say, though, is that at the end of the year, after your exams, you can really relax.
Track 18.
I started this new job a couple of weeks ago, and I'm having a lot of trouble with my work-life balance. In my last job, we had fixed hours. We had to be at the office at 9 on the dot, and we always finished at exactly 5. Any work we hadn't finished, we could just leave for the next day. But this new job's very different. I mean, in this job, we can come into the office any time between 8 and 10 in the morning. Then we can choose whether to have a lunch break or not. Then it gets a bit complicated. If we have a lunch break, we can leave between 4 and 6. If we don't have a lunch break, we can go home between 3 and 5. Okay, well, at first this system sounded really good, especially for me because I have young children. But the problem is that if we haven't finished our work, we have to finish it off at home. So it's actually very difficult to draw the line between work and home. For example, on Mondays I can leave the children at school, go to the gym and get into the office quite late. But I can't take a lunch break because I need to leave early to pick the children up from school. They come out at 4. Then I have to work from home in the evening to finish what I have to do.
Track 19.
If you look at this chart, you can see how we plan our projects. This one is a survey we're working on this year about where people like to shop. Okay. Well, we always start by having a team meeting. That's in the first column called tasks. So, in this team meeting, we decide what we need to do, who's going to do it, and when it's got to be ready, right? So, you can see here in the second column, we've got the start date of the project. That's the 23rd of January. That's the same day we have the team meeting. If you look down the tasks column, you can see that the first thing we have to do is write a draft questionnaire. You know, like an outline of the questions we want to ask. Then we have to check the questionnaire to make sure the questions are right. If you look at the lines in column 3, you can see the dates when we have to complete important tasks in the project. These are what we call milestones in the project. For example, when we've checked the questionnaire on the 25th of April, we'll have reached a milestone, and when we've completed the survey on the 30th of June, we'll have reached another milestone. On the 15th of August, when we finish entering the data on the database, we'll have finished the first phase of the project. The second phase of the project involves writing the report. We'll be doing that between the 15th of August and the 15th of September, and that's the deadline for the project to be handed to the client.
Track 20.
In our company, we believe that our employees are more productive, they work better, if they're happy. Naturally, we have to make sure the company makes a profit, but at the same time, we need to think about the physical and mental health of our employees. We do understand that they aren't just working machines, so we have a policy of helping them find a fair balance between their work and their private lives, what we call a work-life balance. We do this in several ways. Firstly, we have a family-friendly policy, so parents can look after their children when they're very young. For example, sometimes they need to work flexible hours, times that aren't fixed. Other times, parents have to work part-time, and quite a lot work from home. Another example of our family-friendly policy is our generous maternity leave package. In our company, we allow women who've had a baby to take a whole year off work after the baby's born. And of course, while they're away, their jobs are protected.